Hi, sharing episode 3 of my series Break the Bias. Today I would discuss some quick ideas on how to break the bias. The first critical prerequisite is education. Although it is mentioned in civil rights, we have the right to education, we really need to understand the true meaning of education. I'm not talking about the degrees and diplomas. I'm referring to being educated, being open, being independent in thinking. Education is going beyond syllabus and making meaning of the world as per experience and not through somebody else's perception. We see schools who have a very good board curriculum and disciplines, but may be running as a boys' school or a girls' school, having children from a specific section of the society, teachers belonging to a particular school of thought, which not only breeds bias, but it also deprives the child to challenge his or her own bias. It's important that we consider these points before taking admissions for our next generations. Self-esteem and self-confidence falls next in breaking the bias. If one is unable to hold oneself high in her own eyes, how does she hold others? It's already a bias that somebody else is better than me or worse than me. Hence, the choices are made with this thought in mind that I am superior or I am inferior. And if you ask me, I'm really not sure how much data is available to prove this. One favorite question that I face in my leadership workshops is, how do I become a good leader? Well, good for some may be bad for the other, hence, it's a bias. We can be effective, let us not get caught in the vicious circle of good or bad. So, self belief, self love, and no self doubt can be extremely critical in breaking the bias. And there is enough material on how to build self esteem and self confidence, but let us not forget the basic ingredient, having the right attitude. The next point that I have in my mind may be controversial, but let me share that with you. I have experienced that being financially independent helps us in breaking a lot of social bias of dependence, etc. One not only becomes independent financially but gains self confidence and is able to have his own thinking pattern. She can then see the world through a different lens, and hence some of the biases that she may be carrying gets challenged or broken. It also brings an assertive flavor to the way she deals with everyone else and with herself as well. Being assertive is also a prerequisite to challenge and break any bias that exists. Finally, the last two, which are my favorites too. Creating an open environment where one can have open and honest, straight conversations without any judgment. This helps in diffusing biases, if any, and at the same time breeds respect and equality for everyone. Acceptance of diverse thoughts, discussions, and brainstorming helps in building a strong foundation and therefore limiting the bias. Finally, the attitude of not to give up and at the same time not to give in. This has been my personal attitude too, and I feel proud of myself for being able to follow the same. Yes, I did face consequences, but that was my choice, and hence sailed through the good as well as the bad times. I do hear from others that's not possible always, but if your conviction is genuine, nothing is impossible. Yes, it is difficult, and at times bias does take over, but with the right environment and self esteem, one can navigate successfully. So let us support all for the right education, building self confidence and self esteem, being assertive and financially independent, and finally, never giving up or not giving in to the societal pressures.